now, it has been a tough year for a friend of the show here, Jane McDonald, after the death of her husband, Eddie Roth. But 2026 is a bit of a fresh start for Jane as she settled into her new, smaller home. In a new interview, Jane said, "I find it difficult. There was too much history there. We all need peace in our lives, and I've got that now." So it's a good point. Do we possibly need to kind of change our surroundings, change our homes, no matter what the wrench has been? It could be a traumatic event, it could be grief, or it could be a split, of course. Does moving home give you that fresh start?
It did to me. It was one of the first things with both my marriages when they came to an end, that my main thing was I can't stay here, because I loved where I lived at the time, but the last maybe 2 or 3 years of each of those marriages weren't great memories, and I thought I just need to make a fresh start. I want everything to be in my house that is just mine, and there's no memories of it. There's no, I remember when we stayed in this room, or we used to watch telly in this room. It was all brand new. So for me, it was really important, and I've always kind of done that, made of, you know, if that's the end of an era, then I need to start a new one. And it just felt, it felt what I needed, and I understand, obviously, it's not always that easy, but yeah, I just wanted to get out. And also, before I could do that, for instance, if they came back to the house, because, you know, with me and Ray, for instance, you know, we lived in one of the houses for like 12 years, so there was a lot of memories there. Then when we split up, I was there for a while, and then he'd come back, and of course, he'd lived there for 12 years, so he'd come back in, he'd put the kettle on, he'd go to the fridge, and I used to think, that's not your house anymore, you don't live there. You've not asked my permission. Yeah. And then I thought, well, it would feel more weird if he started saying, is it all right if I do this in a house that he'd lived in? So now when he comes to visit, he does do that. Yeah. You know, he goes, put the kettle on.
When you get divorced, it's almost like a necessity of the divorce, right? Because otherwise you're going to end up living in the same house together. But I suppose it's different when it's to do with grief, because Jane obviously is a grief situation. And that's probably a harder judgment, because I think a lot of people who've suffered grief or loss feel, I want to move out because I associate everything with them, and it's prolonging the agony, if you like. But then a lot of other people would think, oh, maybe I'm leaving their spirit behind or something. So I think it very much depends which camp you fit into. And she has done, you know, it was a while ago that he died, so I guess she's done a bit of time there, and now she's drawn a line. And there's something, you know, I mean, like you, I got divorced and I've moved into a smaller house, immediately painted the walls pink. But, you know, and Gary lives up the road and comes around a bit. But it's my space now. And you know, I don't know, there's something quite cathartic about that, I think.
I stayed in my property I was there for 16 years, and it was really very much my house. And I'd had various relationships through that. And I think when I met my husband, Jeremy, we just wanted our own house. I felt like I was living with ghosts of my past. And he did try and live there with me for like a little bit.
Yeah,
but
he must have felt that as well,
I think
really,
so. I think even the rug or the picture or that painting, or I just got rid of everything.
What were you doing on the rug?
Not very much. That's why those relationships ended. But I just think it's nice to have a fresh start. And the only thing I would say, I think I held on to it a bit too long, because when my dad passed away, I sprinkled some of his ashes in the garden.
Oh, yeah, and then you think,
I was like,
I
can never sell this house now.
Yeah.
I didn't tell it to the new owners, but, yeah, there was a part of the garden that he used to like to go to, and we just
I'm sure they'll deal with it now at this stage, So
I always felt that the spirit of my dad was still there, and I thought, I could never sell this house now.
But it's a good point. That's the sort of little things that you're saying.
So it was a bit of all of it.
Yeah, it
was.
And again, it's very difficult for a lot of people. You're saying financially, you know, to try and split everything up, it can be very, very tough for people to have the money to start a new life somewhere new.
Well, if you're getting divorced and then you're separating your finances and you're separating your homes, 2 lots of stamp duty, 2 lots of estate agents' fees, 2 lots of legal fees. You've got to have significant funds to be able to do that. So, you know, a lot of people end up, I mean, I know people that have divided their house and sort of like lived in separate bits of it, because
quite good.
That makes more sense financially.
Sort of whatever works for you. Were you attached to anything, like sentimental about anything we're talking about, if it were in the issue of a brief
I've always been very sort of pragmatic about property. To me, it's bricks and mortar. To me, loads of people have lived there before me. Loads of people will live there after me. So even pre-marriage, when I lived on my own, whenever I moved out of a house, look, here's the key, there's the key, new owners, love it. Never look back.
But also, the sentimental things are normally things, aren't they? So if you're
People,
really
for me.
sentimental about...
People.
No, but if there are things in the house that you're sentimental about, they're normally things you could take with you if you wanted to.
I think it was my garden. I'd spent so much time in my garden.
Oh, your garden was beautiful.
Yeah, and I think that... I said to my husband at the time when we were selling it, I said, I'm never going to be able to create a garden like this again in my lifetime because I'd been there 16 years.
Yes,
and to do that again, like, I just don't know how I would even go about it, how I would start. And to hand that over was quite a wrench, to be honest. But you have to move on with your life.
I did try leaving the kids, but they insisted that they came with me.
They found you.
I tried to make them part of the house, but the new owners said no.
Do you want the kids?
Yeah, it comes with 3 kids.
Doesn't work that way.
For the dogs, but yeah.
Do you get
the
attached?
animals went?
Do you get attached
I know.
to
Well, I do.
property?
I think I would actually probably struggle. And weirdly, I can see my little girl being exactly the same. You know, she's a bit of a hoarder almost, and it's because no, but I did it on that day, or she remembers who bought it, and I think I'm a bit like that too, where I do get attached to really silly little sentimental things that no one else would put any kind. No, you would. But even things like I've got their heights on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you can recreate it, you get the ruler, all the rest of it, but it's still, that's where I did their height on the edge of the door. And it's little things like that that make me a bit emotional.
Yeah. You'll have to paint over that, Christine, when you sell it.
It's having a heart.
Soft bit.
Yeah, so I get it. It's tough. It is tough. We do understand it can be difficult. But if you've time like Jane has had, hopefully it is a chance to start new. But sending all of our love and indeed best wishes to Jane in her new home.